A big fat no thanks to these dating nightmares. First story, my boyfriend called me a gold digger, so I left. Now he wants my help to pay the rent. Isn't that ironic? That song, isn't it ironic? Don't you think? A little too ironic. Oh, I really do think it's like rain. Anyways, this story came December 18th, 2024. I, female 30, have been with my boyfriend, male 34, for 2 years. We moved in together 6 months ago and it was all good. We had an understanding that we would go 50-50 on chores and bills until we decided to have a child, as I would be putting my body, career, and life on the line, and he would obviously need to make up for his lack of risk by contributing more around the house and monetary. Because of this, I believed that we had an understanding on how we believed partnership should work. 2 months ago, he got a slight promotion and a pay bump, which meant that we adjusted our cut of the bills to reflect that. But somehow he's come to expect me to then take up the chores at home. It started with small things that I knew he could do, like dishes and laundry, and escalated to sitting down all weekend, watching me do my half and leaving his half of the chores to accumulate. He blamed it on the stress and added workload, but we're both corporate and work at our desks regardless. I would be more understanding if his job was more physically demanding. It got to a breaking point when I noticed mold in the pots that he was meant to clean. If either of us cooks, it's the other person's responsibility to clean. He just kept the lid on it so that I wouldn't notice. I needed to take a day off work to catch up on all the cleaning that he neglected. The last straw was when he came home without groceries, despite it being his week. Usually, when either of us is too tired to do groceries, we let the other one know in advance so that we can at least order in some food. I told him we need to add a cleaner to the bills if he's not happy doing his chores anymore, because I refuse to do them if he's not contributing fairly as well. He made an excuse about not wanting a stranger in our flat. I then said that we would need to begin ordering grocery deliveries for the extra cost too if he can no longer be bothered to go grocery shopping, and he called me frivolous with money. So I suggested that I would be happy to take up these responsibilities, but it would mean I drop my working days from 5 to 4, and I would expect to be compensated for the sacrifice I'm taking to my own career so that he can, quote, focus on his responsibilities, because apparently they matter more than my own. And I would also expect to be paid an hourly rate for doing the chores at the average market salary for a housekeeper. He seemed so surprised and shocked that I would suggest that, and didn't know how to reply despite having an answer for anything that I said before that. I started to feel like he was trying to manipulate me into a situation that was more ideal to him and less ideal to me. And if he loved me, he wouldn't be doing that. So I asked him if his friends put him up to do this, because I knew they all struggled to keep girlfriends, and he said, quote, proper woman would be happy to look after the house. I dare someone to say that to me.
I dare you, I double dare you, mother.
And he then called me a gold digger. I was shocked because I wasn't asking for designer items. I was asking for fair compensation for my labor, especially seeing as it would dent my own career to take on all of his work. So I called him a gold digger for wanting a private chef and housekeeper for free. I was admittedly angry at this point, and I also told him to stop being so proud of his promotion if he was too broke to afford a chef and a cleaner, and instead tried to manipulate the woman he loves to do it for free. Not really for free, because taking a day off from my salary means that I'll be paying for the privilege to clean up after him out of pocket. I told him he was dragging me down when we were supposedly meant to build each other up equally. The flat is his, so when he was ignoring me after the fight, I started packing. He told me I would see sense, but I didn't bother. I started to feel embarrassed that I didn't notice he was like this and wasted 2 years to build up to this letdown. As I packed my car, I said as much as I could, and I told him not to contact me. I blocked him everywhere, and now he's sending our mutual friends messages and voice notes to forward to me. My friends have been mostly on my side, seeing him as a bit pitiful, and I can see that. One of the male friends we have in common mentioned that he's been watching podcasts recently about masculinity, and I have a feeling this is where he got the idea to stall my future and put me under his foot to only serve his dreams and goals. I feel feel angry the more I think about it. He loved those podcasts, Men's Ideas, more than he loved me, and now he expects me to feel sorry that he can't afford a rent without my contribution? But I believe he still thinks I'm the gold digger for not accepting an unfair division of effort and labor. If this happened to any other woman, how do you address it? I'm annoyed I let it trickle and accumulate 2 months before addressing it. Moving forward, I won't enter a relationship without having this outlined at the dating stage. I'm in my 30s now, and I don't want to deal with men expecting free women labor because society makes them believe it's worthless in comparison to what they do. Edit. I want to explain a few points that came up a lot. Number 1, he created an Excel spreadsheet that calculated based on income how we can fairly contribute. When his pay increased, he paid more monthly, about 80 euros, and also had 400 euros extra monthly disposable income. If this is what soured him, I suppose he should have mentioned it because it was his system, not mine. Number 2, we did not keep a tally. We had favorite chores. He likes to vacuum, so I like to put dishes away. Sometimes he is sick, does overtime, or isn't in the mood, and I would happily do it. Same with him for me. I only started to tally when a pattern emerged. It would be stupid to not take notice when he is consistently leaving things to me to silently do, as if expecting me to just silently sort it all out. The mold was disgusting. The groceries were just the straw that broke the camel's back. I was exhausted after only 2 months of picking up the slack mentally and physically. Couldn't imagine doing it without serious reconsiderations to our dynamic. And number 3, we discussed children because we both agreed we wanted the relationship to head in that direction, not because we were ready now. I would not have spent 2 years with a man if our future ideas did not align. It's okay if someone changes their mind later, but communication is important. Number 4, he listened to these podcasts in secret. I had no idea. And we usually share the entertainment that we consume together, like silly videos and movies. Ooh, we have an update that came 6 months later. So we'll get to see this wrapped up with a big old bow. The update came June 16th, 2025. The breakup was quick. I walked out after a major fight with most of my items, and my father went back to collect the rest while I was with him on FaceTime. I wasn't scared of him then, but I knew he would try to talk to me as he was bothering all our mutual friends to get in contact with me on his behalf. Since then, I have slowly drifted away from all our mutual friends as no one has cut contact with him, and I just wanted friends who didn't feel like they were walking on eggshells around me. He had started off being very apologetic in his messages to me, but quickly became mean and then blamed me for everything. He lost the flat because he could no longer afford it, and he moved to a studio. While he was heartbroken, his sister would look after him and clean sometimes, but even she got tired of it. He told everyone he was depressed because of me, so they all tiptoed around him. But once I started to drift off and hang out with more of my hometown friends and reconnect, I heard less and less. About a month ago, I got asked on a date and I said yes. The man, who's 33, let's say Martin, is completely new to this area and barely knew anyone. We spent a lot of time together in the first week, just me showing him around and being more like friends before seriously dating. Somehow, my ex found out. Uh-oh. I'm still not sure how, but I think a mutual friend saw me and reported back. He turned up at my father's house. He doesn't know where I currently live, and he asked if he could talk to me. I called a mutual friend to alert them of this weird behavior. It seemed to work because he didn't try anything for a little while, but then one of our mutual friends called me to tell me that they found out my ex has lost his job because for the past few weeks he has been driving around my town all day instead of working in hopes to spot me. Mans has to get over it and move on. Martin is a tall, large man, so I go out with him almost everywhere since we like spending time together anyways, and I also have my friends and my father, so I don't feel like I'm in immediate danger, but this behavior sounds like the kind of behavior from an entitled and delusional man, and we all know how far their delusions of entitlement can take them. For him to lose the job he wanted me to prioritize over mine and the entire start of our argument last time, it just doesn't sit right with me. me. At this point, the police here can't do anything as he hasn't acted, and I can't prove that he has stalked me electronically. So the only way for me to find out more or resolve this is by unblocking him. I am grateful I blocked him though so thoroughly because it allowed me to have a clean break, but obviously in his red pill mind, that's not normal. Will closure help him? Martin has suggested that even he would pretend to be a fully dedicated boyfriend to help discourage my ex from any ideas of reconciliation. Honestly, since our breakup, I have been considering moving to Portugal, but very whimsically. Now the situation has made me think about it more seriously. Maybe he'll follow you to Portugal. It depends how bad he wants you back. You might not even be safe in Portugal, to be honest. I'm thinking worst case scenario. I never help. I just gotta shut up. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my friend's fiance stranded for trying to make a move on me? This story came April 4th, 2026. I, 21 female, have a friend Tegan, 22 female, and her fiance Luca, 21 male. Oh, this story hints to SA, but not SA, so I didn't mark it that because I'm afraid of screwing up, so here is a trigger warning. A couple weeks ago, our friend group went out drinking. Almost everyone got super drunk except me and Tegan because we were the designated drivers. Somehow, Luca ended up in my car instead of Tegan's, which was super annoying because his apartment is on the opposite direction from my group's apartment, so I had to make a huge detour just to drop him off. Being the kind person that I was, I decided to drop my girls off at their apartments because it's not their fault that Luca was being a drunk a-hole with his head shoved so far up his butt that he could perform his own hands-free colonoscopy. Well, there's a visual I did not need. So I dropped my girls off and it was just me and Luca in the car. Basically, half of my friend group lives at apartment building A, half lives in apartment building B, and Tegan and Luca live in apartment C. At first, it was fine. We were just chatting and sitting in silence, but then he started insisting we pull over at some gas station because he needed something. I honestly don't remember if it was water, snacks, or a bathroom. I agreed because I thought it was harmless, but as soon as we were parked, he started getting weird and making advances on me. I immediately said no and pushed him away, but he's bigger than me and he kept getting aggressive, saying some ridiculous stuff like, "You would enjoy it, no one will find out." I was freaking out because the situation was escalating and my ass was gonna be fried if he tried something because I'm much smaller than him and I wouldn't stand a chance defending myself. So I made the decision to just leave. I told him to get out of my car and I drove off. He was obviously pissed that I left him at a gas station. The area isn't sketchy, there's plenty of Ubers, and he had a phone and money. And a girlfriend who will pick him up. Fiance. His apartment is about a 15-20 minute walk from there, so I didn't think I was actually endangering him. Tegan is now pissed at me for a good reason. I haven't told her any of the story. She thinks that I just left her fiance stranded for no reason, and now she's upset with me. As she should. She keeps saying I endangered Luca and that I should apologize, but I literally can't explain why I left him without spilling what he did. I also feel disgusted and disrespected looking at him or being around him now. Their wedding is coming up soon and I'm scared this will ruin their relationship if I spill, and ours if I don't. He's overall a pretty nice guy, but part of me thinks I should tell Tegan before the wedding happens, but I also don't want to destroy their relationship over a drunken night that got out of control. This stuff has never happened before, so I feel bad blowing it out of proportion. How do you know it hasn't happened before? He could be doing that, making moves on other girls when she's not around. How do you know? How does Tegan know? I am curious though, would you guys tell her, especially with the wedding coming? Wouldn't that be the best time for her to know that her husband got drunk and was making moves on someone else, whether it was her friend or not? Would you guys tell her friend, or would you say, nah, we're just gonna put it under the rug? We have an update. It came 4 days later. Now we're at April 8th. Tegan and I talked late on Easter Sunday, and honestly, she wasn't as upset as I expected. Thankfully, I have one of those cameras that mounts on your car's mirror. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it clearly shows him throwing a tantrum after I kicked him out of the car. We've been friends for much longer than they've been in a relationship, and she chose to trust my side of the story over his. She confronted him the next day and recorded the entire conversation for me to listen to. He claimed that I was lying, but when she asked him to explain what happened, his original story of me kicking him out for no reason shifted into me trying to make a move on him. She called out his lying ass and beat his idiotic claims into the ground through her amazing debating skills. Because of that, the wedding has been called off, and so has their engagement. She doesn't have anything against me either. As she shouldn't. I was thinking the camera would face inside the car, but no, it's probably facing outside the car, which caught his tantrum. But I was like, you literally had everything on camera. If only the camera was for the inside. Next story. It is titled, Was I an a-hole for not sharing my location with my wife? This story came May 6, 2025. I, male 41, have been with my wife, female 37, for 6 years. We have a 3-year-old daughter. My wife decided to be a stay-at-home mom after our baby was born and didn't go back to work after her maternity leave ended. We live in Canada. We divide the housework and childcare equally. I watch the baby 2 nights a week so she can go to the gym for a little mental health break. I asked her if I can have 1 night a week of quiet time. She asked me, what is that? I said, just pretend I'm not here. I'll be in our room reading or listening to music for 1 hour only, and she agreed. Every single time she would come to our room either to talk to me or tell me that she was bored. When I reminded her about our deal, she got upset and said I was making excuses to avoid spending time with her. Another time, I told her that I would be going to a local coffee shop to read and just 1 hour of quiet time. My wife decided to do a surprise visit there. She said that the baby wanted to surprise her dad. I smiled and said I just wanted some quiet time. She sat down and talked so loud that I had to say, let's just go home. This time, I decided to go to a public library. My wife asked where I was going. I told her I hadn't decided yet, but as per our deal, it's my night. She got upset because I was refusing to share where I was going. That 1 hour of quiet time was heavenly. No one called my name, and I came back home so happy. When I came home, my wife was furious. She said she wanted to check my phone, then asked if I was seeing or talking to anyone. I laughed. I said I was at the library. You can ask the librarians if they saw me. She has been so cold to me and says that I should have shared my location since she does. Was I the a-hole for refusing to share where I was? I decided to stay longer at work in future and take advantage of quiet office now that my wife knows about the library. Imagine not being able to just go somewhere for an hour without your partner thinking you're cheating on them. Been in a relationship like that.
Been there, done that.
Let me tell ya, we'll never do that ever again. Don't advise that. Don't advise anyone to be in something like that. It's not fun always having to explain yourself. Anyways, we have an update and it came the next day. I got so many DMs asking if I have talked to her and why did I need alone time? Because it really makes a difference in my mental health status. I really don't know what to do. She is now fully convinced that I am having an affair. In her conspiracy plot, I need alone time because I resent her and I was alone with some affair partner that night. She refuses to even have a calm conversation with me. I told her I can have my quiet time at home if it puts her mind at ease, but only if she promises to not interrupt me. She made a snarky comment about what my affair partner thinks. I just stopped trying to convince her. Things have been rocky. I have no plan of taking my quiet time anymore, at least until things get better. Whatever relationship this is, I don't want it. Next update, 3 days later, May 10th. My life has been a living hell. I checked her phone. There was nothing suspicious. She had a long conversation with her best friend about how she knows I'm cheating and that's why I'm avoiding her and I want my alone time. She said she was frustrated because she couldn't prove it, but just that she knew. Her best friend told her to trust her heart. I tried multiple times to sit her down and talk to her, but it ended up with her yelling at me and her being more upset. She is very cold to me and avoids any conversation conversations with me. Mentally, I'm a mess. I wanted to go for a long walk yesterday. I told her where I was going. She rolled her eyes and said, "Alone time, or does the mistress miss you?" I decided to not go. I really don't know how to prove myself. I gave up on any alone time. She doesn't even talk to me, so date nights are gone too. I ruined my marriage over one quiet alone reading time at the library. I don't think you ruined your marriage. I think she's ruining your marriage. I feel like if you can't go to the library without your location on for an hour to read a book, I think there's more bigger issues in this marriage. There's some trust issues there, clearly. Next update, 3 days after that. I tried to make Mother's Day special for her. I made a handprint homemade card with our kid for her. We, our kid and I, but technically from our kid, made a special breakfast for her. She said thanks to our kid and hugged her, but things have not been the same between us. I was planning to barbecue for dinner. I realized I needed to replace the propane tank. I told her I was going to buy one. I was stupid enough to stop by at the local French bakery to buy a special dessert for Mother's Day. There was a lineup, but I thought it was worth it since they have her favorite dessert and it would be a nice surprise for her. When I came home, my wife lost it. She started screaming that I was out with my mistress. That's why it took so long. I showed her the dessert. She grabbed it from my hand and threw it in the trash and said it's a cover-up for my affair. I told her how on earth I could possibly have met my hypothetical mistress and bought this in less than an hour. She told me she was done. She grabbed our kid and she left. She has been staying with her parents. I tried contacting her, but she didn't reply. I guess the next step is talking to an attorney about shared custody. I bet you're really wishing now that you shared your location.
Yikes.
But honestly, we have a final update and it came over 3 months later. So we're gonna see what ended up happening here. The update came August 22nd, 2025. I spoke with an attorney, like I mentioned before. For now, things are moving forward, setting up a custody arrangement, and I'll also have to pay alimony and child support since she has no source of income. She's staying at our place, but she does let me visit our kid, which I'm thankful for. She still says I broke the family by being selfish and not fighting for it. I feel guilty because I wish I could be with my kid all the time, questioning myself that maybe I am selfish. It's heartbreaking, but it seems like my wife has made up her mind. I've also started individual therapy because I realized I can't control her suspicions or rebuild trust by myself if she isn't willing. What I can control is how I show up for my kid and how I handle this whole situation. For the record, I never cheated on her. And no, I'm not seeing anyone now. I honestly have no idea what's going on with her at this point. I'm not sure if she's seeing anyone, but that's none of my business anyways. My focus is entirely on my kid and making sure she feels loved and supported. I cannot believe this story led to a divorce and them splitting up. I did not expect that. Over an hour at a library of not sharing a location? Come on now. I feel like that just brought up the real issues here. Because you should not have to defend yourself all the time. That's not a fun relationship. We got more, but I need a sip of water and so do you, okay? You gotta hydrate. It's hydration station. Cheers. So I'm pretty sure this is for children's rooms, but I thought this was the cutest idea ever and I can't believe I didn't think of this until now. To put your stuffed animals hanging in like a little net in your room. Rather, I had them in like a bin on the floor. This is so much fun. And you can see them all. Hi guys. Anyways, thought I would share. Next story. Am I the a-hole for doubting my marriage now that my husband admitted he's broke? This story came March 14th, 2026. I, 40 female, have a son from my previous marriage. After my divorce, I raised him mostly alone since his dad does not pay child support. Those years were hard, but I rebuilt my life. I focused on my son and my career, and honestly, I was very happy being single. About 5 years ago, I met my now husband, almost 60 male, through work. He owned his own business. I wasn't looking for anything serious, but we clicked immediately. Within a couple months, he was basically staying at my place all the time and eventually moved in. A year later, we were engaged. My son loves him and calls him dad. My family and friends adore him, and he's always been kind and generous with us. We split our expenses in a way that worked for us. We paid rent 50-50. I handled the household bills, and he was in charge of food and entertainment, like going out, activities, etc. Not long after moving in, he had to close his business, but he always reassured me that we were financially fine. Because he's near retirement age, I didn't push too hard. I assumed he had savings and things were under control. For the last couple of years, he's mostly been a stay-at-home dad while I work full-time. He cooks, cleans, and supports me at home, which I really appreciate. But over time, things started to feel different. When we met, he was very active, went to the gym, had friends and hobbies. Now he mostly stays home watching TV, doesn't exercise anymore, and doesn't really see his friends or family. I've tried encouraging him to do things like volunteering, hobbies, or even part-time work just to stay active, but he's always just brushed it off. We've also stopped going out together much. This year, we've only been on 2 dates, both of which I have planned. Then, this Monday, he told me he is completely broke. He said his savings are gone and the remaining money connected to his business are no longer available. What upset me wasn't the money, it was that he never told me things were even getting this bad. Now suddenly I'm responsible for everything financially, and our current lifestyle is honestly not something that I can afford alone. I've always been transparent with him about what I can and can't afford. When I told him I was upset, he said he thinks I was fine before because there was money, and now I'm only upset because there isn't. But that's not how I see it. I'm upset because he hid the situation and never really tried to restart the business or find work or even plan for the future with me, or that I had to carry all of it myself. He still hasn't done anything. I'm resolving this situation alone. Also, I have tried to speak with him before about how I was feeling prior to the big bomb he dropped, but I feel like he never truly listened to what I had to say. His response was, "I love you so much. I've never felt like this before. I'm so happy with you. I don't need anything else." I told him I want to see him as the partner and the man of the house again, not someone who just stays home all day. I appreciate everything he does around the house, but I don't want to feel like I'm his entire world, and while he has no life on his own. At the same time, I feel guilty for questioning things now that he's struggling. Am I the a-hole for being upset and doubting our situation? No, I think you have a right to be upset. I think he totally should have told you when things in the budget started to shift. You guys are life partners. You guys have a child together in a sense, you know? What do you mean? The bills, everything. He totally should have been upfront with you the second it started going. Like, I feel like that should be a conversation for sure. She did add an edit to this post and said, "Just to be clear, I did ask him several times about the finances, but he always assured us that we were okay and that he has it covered. I never pushed to see his bank statements, and he was sort of covering his part of the agreement, so I just believed him. I assumed a man of his age had it handled without me supervising every cent. Financials apart, I miss the partnership. Families go through hard times, but I don't like feeling like I have to sort it out myself when I was in the blind the whole time. He started as a great team player, and having that support was great. Not the money, the mental and emotional one. But everything changed, and I miss his masculine energy. I have been doing this all by myself my whole life. I wanted a partner for support, not to carry him as well. And again, it's not about the money, it is also about everything else. We were a couple of months into a serious relationship, but we were together and dating before, so he moved in after the year mark. I was not comfortable, as for me, it was very important that whoever I was going to move in with, because of my son, it was with someone who was serious and looking for a long-lasting relationship, not just to try and hit it sort of thing. Before we got married, we signed a prenup, as I have been clear that all I have is for my son, and I don't want to jeopardize that. He was married before and has 4 kids who are all adults now. He left the house to his ex-wife. He moved out and was looking at his own place when we started getting serious. That's why he said it would be better to live with me and get our own place together. Yes, I have met the ex-wife and all the kids. We were actually quite close and they were very nice. The ex or kids never said anything weird. On the contrary, I noticed that he was providing for them as well. We do have an update. It came 9 days later, March 23rd, 2026. To clarify a few things, we have a joint account where he was transferring his share. However, we did agree to keep our finances separate. I didn't want him to know my financial situation or to manage my money, which I have been through. So I asked about his finances respectfully, and he agreed. After all the comments, I decided to have a serious conversation with him, and I requested proof of several discrepancies. He got upset at first, but I stood my ground. It was either that or a breakup. We have only been married for a few months, and I'm not going to carry a dead weight. He's having issues with the IRS because his brother stole his identity and opened businesses in other states. There are other serious problems too, and I spoke with a lawyer and an accountant and 2 exes of the brother. The brother is a lost cause. I was upset because I told him I needed him to start fixing the problem, not just wait. He got upset when we met with the lawyer and accountant to create a plan. That's when I told him I couldn't continue with him on those terms. I understand he's going through a tough time and I'm here to support him, but I can't take over his problems while he just sits around. Either he takes responsibility and gets things done, or I'm leaving. It's not the money that bothers me, it's his attitude. Yes, I understand the age difference and that it's normal for a stay-at-home dad to be responsible for household chores. However, this wasn't ever agreed upon. I never wanted a stay-at-home husband, as I mentioned to him. I feel played. He pretended to be the kind of man that I've always wanted, but he ended up being the complete opposite. He's very respectful and we have an amazing relationship, but I am now feeling suffocated. So I gave him a month to find a job or a solution for our financial situation. He needs to return to the gym or a sport or a hobby, make some friends, and have a life. I need to be able to spend time with my son, myself, and my friends without him. I'm also ensuring with the lawyer that this situation does not affect me or my son. I'll keep you posted to see if he actually did it or if this is completely over. However, there was no other update. So we don't know if it's completely over or if he got a job. What would you do in that situation? Very curious. Would you lay down rules like this? Ultimatum, you need to make some money then if we have no money on your behalf, even though he's in retirement age, or what? Or are you just funding everything? Let me know your thoughts and feelings on all these stories, you guys. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.